You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
So 45 fired off a stream of tweets Thursday, blasting Democrats and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi amid the impeachment impasse. The quote, the radical left do-nothing Democrats said they want to rush everything through the Senate because President Trump is a threat to national security. Quote, they are vicious, they will say anything, but now they don't want to go fast anymore because they want to go very slowly. Liars. This is a Trump tweet. Trump tweets come after Pelosi has said she would wait until the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announces a process by which the chamber will conduct Trump's trial before transmitting the articles of impeachment the House passed last week. As it stands, McConnell has said he wants the Senate to confirm the precedent set in 1999 during then-President Bill Clinton's impeachment trial, which included a two-resolution process. First, an initial agreement to first hear the case, and then a later vote on whether to call witnesses. McConnell's counterpart, Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, has pushed for a single resolution that would set parameters for presenting the case and allow for the calling of witnesses. Schumer has said he wants the Senate to call 4 witnesses, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton, acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, to testify about Trump's conduct towards Ukraine. So, guys, I mean, this is going on and on and on and on and on. People just don't agree about whether this was wrong or whether it was right. But clearly the majority does agree that there has been contempt of Congress. And this, frankly, to me, it slaps us in the face of everything we know to be.
Right.
I don't necessarily, y'all might not agree with me, about the separation of powers.
Right.
Because we have 3 co-equal branches of government.
Absolutely.
You have the legislature, you have the president, and you have the Supreme Court.
Right.
And somehow the president does not believe that he has to respect his other co-equals. Julian, help me out with this. And don't be making them faces, because it ain't working.
I think the longer this goes on, the more it takes away from the people. You know, it's to a point now where people are tired of hearing about this Ukraine. People are tired of hearing about the impeachment. People are ready to just say, hey, let's go ahead. Let's take this before the Senate. Let's see what happens in the Senate so we can move forward and get ready for 2020. I think the longer you drag it out, it just starts to run its course to the point where people just start turning their back on it, like, okay, nothing's going to come from it, so why continue to make light of it?
Well, so are you diminishing the energy that young people, women, others have to see this president at minimum reprimanded and perhaps at maximum released from office? But they're young people that we don't always talk about. You may be the youngest one on this panel. I don't know. I know I'm the old girl, but and I love it. But some of these younger people are very disturbed.
At the end of the day, it should go ahead and run its course and follow whatever process that needs to be followed. So the articles of impeachment need to be turned over to the Senate so the Senate can do their due diligence and make a decision however they're going to make. That's what I mean by when Nancy Pelosi is holding back and saying, no, I want to make sure you guys are going to be fair and reasonable with this trial. I understand her reason. She's entitled to that, but at some point you got to turn those articles over and let everything happen that's going to happen. As far as if he's going to be removed from office, the votes will show it. If he's not going to be removed from office, the votes will show it.
And he will always have a permanent black mark on his life because he has been impeached. One of 3
So which
presidents.
is more important? Tarnishing his legacy or making sure he doesn't get reelected?
Well, I think he's done that all on his own. And I just want to bring forward, as we talk about this, that the reason that those articles of impeachment are not being turned over is because Mitchell McConnell went on Hannity and said the following: we'll make a decision about the way forward, and everything I do during this, I'm coordinating with White House counsel, there will be no difference between the president's position and our position as to how we handle this to the extent that we can. So
But at the end of the day,
here's
she
what I'm
does-
saying.
she does
Here's
not
what
have
I'm
the
saying.
numbers.
But here's what I'm saying.
But you
so
don't
here's
know.
what I'm
Well,
saying.
let
Let's
her
just talk
finish.
about this
Let
from
her
the
finish.
Black American experience, right? So our relationship but our relationship with the courts has been fractured somewhat, right?
True.
So it's usually someone that we know that's been incarcerated, someone perhaps in our family, or there's just been we've all
bad
experienced kind of like the rollout of justice really kind of even before we got to the court steps. So when we think about this in terms of impeachment, it would behoove all of us to understand that this, just like anything else, is a process, right? The way with which this alleged president got to office was a process.
True.
So while we're thinking about that, this is not a game. This is ensuring that those checks and balances absolutely stand, that whomever assumes that office, be it a Republican, be it a Democrat, be it independent, that they're held to a standard.
I understand
So
that.
when we talk about the relationships of courts, particularly as Black Americans, and we think about this whole impeachment process, her holding those articles of impeachment to ensure that per Mitch McConnell goes on Hannity and says this in front of a camera to millions of viewers, then do you not think that it would not be in the interest of the American people that folks go on TV and talk about the American people all the time, to ensure that the process forward is not going to be rigged, as has been identified by the Senate Majority Leader and echoed by the echo chamber of Republicans as well? And I'm saying that would be for whomever was in office,
She
be it
does not
Republican
con-
or
she-
Democrat.
she has no control over this.
But Mitch McConnell just said that he has control. This
And
is
he
his
also
statement.
said-
She
This
does
is
not
his
have-
verbatim-
said-
This is his
All I'm
verbatim
saying
statement.
Julian,
is-
he
This is
also
his
said-
verbatim statement
At
on
the end
December
of the
the
day,
12th.
you have no control over it. So you're going to let
But
it
Mitch
run.
McConnell said that he
At
has
the end of the
absolute
day,
He said he's
control.
coordinating with the White House. Julian,
Mitch McConnell said he
Julian,
has absolute
stop a
control.
minute. Stop a minute.
At the end of the day-
Stop a minute.
Wait a minute.
At the end of the day, Mitch
she has no
McConnell said
control.
he is in cahoots with the White House. So therefore, this is not anything that's unbiased.
Do you have
or-
control over it? No. Do I have control over it? No. Does she have control over it? No.
Mitch
But,
McConnell
so
just
that's a
said majority
rhetorical
said he
point.
has control
That
over
is a
it.
rhetorical
Ladies,
point
let
that
me
means
finish.
nothing, my brother.
No,
nothing,
let me
nothing,
finish.
nothing.
Let me finish, please.
Honey, don't holler over me.
Nancy Pelosi has no control over that. I understand her reasoning for holding the articles of impeachment, like I said before, to ensure that this trial will be fair and reasonable. She has no control over it. The Republicans control the Senate. So at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't see no Republican putting him out of office, since we have election year coming up, and a lot of them are up for re-election. I don't.
And some of them are up for re-election in swing states where Democrats
Yeah.
will spank them in their behinds.
And you have a lot of Democrats who are up for re-election in red states that was won by President
so we
Trump.
gonna
So
see how-
it goes both ways.
So we're going to see how it all
But they
turns
have
out.
lost
But at the end of the
400
day,
seats in
they
the
have
state
lost
legislature.
They have
All
lost
the
seats.
400.
All
They
I'm
have
saying
lost
is-
seats.
all
They
I'm
have,
saying
excuse
is
me,
this.
I'm talking. They have lost seats. They have
Governorships.
they have disrespected the American people. Now, y'all folks may not think that, but a lot of people, white, college-educated, even non-college-educated women, are tilting D because they're tired of this.
At the end of the day, we don't know how people are going to vote. We don't.
Is that your strongest argument? We don't know how people going to vote?
2016 election, everybody thought Hillary was going to win. It was a landslide victory for her. Look what happened. The votes showed people thought otherwise. So at the end of the day, what looks like a shoe-in may not be a shoe-in.
Well,
But we
nobody's
have to
saying
also
shoe-in.
factor in active voter suppression that happened, and that
Yes,
was in
come on.
Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. So we cannot discount
True.
those. So
I'm
that
not-
those
I'm
are
not
very
dis- I'm
real
not
things.
Okay, let her-
With the very-
no.
But
All
Julian,
I'm saying is
Julian.
it's going to play out however it's going to play out.
Julian, let
but we
her
want to make
finish,
sure
please.
that it's fair and balanced,
Have I
right?
not stated that? Have I not
Right,
stated
but
that?
that's why.
No.
But
No,
that's
but
why,
you
you're
leaning on this.
contradicting that.
Well, we don't know how it's going to turn out. I mean,
don't. You
no,
can't-
nobody does. But at the same
that's what
time,
I'm saying.
but that's a weak point.
That's not a weak point.
It is a weak point.
I just supported the fact that Nancy is holding on to these articles. So she can,
Speaker Pelosi, please.
Speaker Pelosi is holding on to these articles to ensure that a trial is going to be fair and reasonable. Have I not said that? At the end of the day, no one is going to predict how this is going to come out. So she can hold on to those articles as long as she wants. At the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be. Whether he's going to be removed or not removed, we have no control over it. So we can sit here and talk all day and yell at each other till we blue in the face. But at the end of the day, whatever the outcome is going to be, that's what's going to happen, regardless of how we agree or disagree on that fact.
Okay, I'm going to take a break. Our brother man here is tripping. So we're going to take a break. I'll be right back.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, as the marijuana momentum continues, our folks at marijuanastock.org have already reached more than half of their funding goal for the hemp CBD investment. So if you want to take advantage, you better get in now. Of course, hemp is a cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana, but it won't get you high. Scott is sad. Now, folks, if you don't know, hemp farming is now legal in the U.S., creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. It's an investment opportunity for you and the full folks at 420 Real Estate have a simple business model. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants, people like Chris. They are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. Now, all you got to do is invest as little as $200. Monique, you got that. In their crowdfunding campaign, up to $10,000. Amisha, some of that Sinclair money. To invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. Get in the game and get in the game now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.